Hello everyone, I'm Lakshmi Nambyar. I'm really excited to take you on a walkthrough for the exhibition Triloka, which is currently on at SRISHTI Art, where three different distinct artists use materials to explore ideas, memory, time and lived experience. The first artist I want to talk about is Moumita Basak. She is from West Bengal and she uses discarded materials from domestic spaces to showcase everyday scenes of life. Moumita collects these discarded materials from women in domestic spaces, their saris, curtains, and she creates, as I said earlier, everyday scenes. There is a woman sipping tea, there's another woman playing cards. These are all women in leisure. And but if you really look closely, you would find that women in domestic spaces do not actually occupy this space. It's mostly held by men. And in a very simple way, she's really trying to help us think about women in these spaces and their lives, where time for leisure may not be there for them, and it's a privilege. This is one of my favorite pieces by Moumita Basak. It's a very simple scene. There are two women reading newspaper. One is burqa clad, the other is faceless, and most of her works are faceless because it kind of talks about a shared experience. Again, a very simple, familiar scene we see when we go around, but it's again mostly held by men. And she is trying to kind of help us think about women and what they can do in the spaces around us. Another amazing work by Moumita. These are two women walking on the street with probably a beedi or a cigarette in their hands. Even the mannerism in which they walk is very different from what typically you would find in domestic spaces. The next artist I want to talk about is Nirmal Mondal, who studied in Shantiniketan and is from Murshidabad. Nirmal's works starts with stories that are passed down through generations and shape how we understand where we come from. In this work, Nirmal takes an old dhoti of his grandfather and he draws out scenes, fragments of the memory that he holds from the stories that he has heard and really made him who he is today. Similarly, on this side you will see again he's used terracotta and taken fragments of the story and drawn it on a terracotta brick, almost making it permanent and yet impermanent. These works by Nirmal is inspired by the architecture in the city that he's from, Murshidabad, where you will see both temple, mosque, and it feels like small monuments, but they are quite contained structures. They have very layered identities, different religions, shared histories, all coexisting. These forms feel like they are slowly wearing away, shaped by time, and really to tell us that even as they erode, the stories don't disappear, they continue just in a different form. These are works by Nayanjyoti Barman, who is from Assam. He looks at how nature, architecture and the systems that we build, technology and networks affect each other and how they overlap with each other. In these works, you see birds, bees, natural forms interwoven with wires, grids and mechanical structures that we have put together. Nature is really finding ways to adapt and exist within these systems. But if you look closely, he also wants us to pay attention to what else is happening as nature adapts. For example, the sparrows are soon disappearing from around us. This work by Nayan is called Blueprint Theory, where he looks at architecture as not something as fixed. If you see, architectural forms keep changing. They are partly built, partly reconstructed. There are repetition of elements, feels like something in the process of being built. So he is really asking questions about, can we truly recreate the past? Do we really understand how these structures were made? And you know, every time we rebuild something, we are also changing it. It reflects our present thinking, our limitations, and our interpretation of history. This work by Nayan is called Story of Collapse. He uses cardboard to build structures that are at a breaking point. It feels like pieces that have fallen, shifted, or being pulled apart, still carrying traces of buildings, windows, and systems. These are not just ruins, they show a moment where structure, system, order is giving away. Really, to say that collapse is not sudden, it builds up quietly over time. Even as things fall apart, they still carry the memory of what they were. What I find interesting about Nayan is that across all his works, life and structure are constantly adjusting to each other and nothing is fixed. So that concludes the walkthrough of Triloka. I'm really excited for the three artists that is part of this exhibition. Their journey with us began last year as part of Emerging Palettes, which is an annual platform program that we do at SRISHTI, where we invite artists who have completed their masters to apply, and after the call for applications there is a jury process and we select 10 artists to showcase their work in Emerging Palettes. Moumita, Nayan and Nirmal were part of Emerging Palettes of last year. They were also grant winners of SRISHTI Grant Prize, and we invited them to do a larger body of work the following year, which is what came together as Triloka for the 5th year this year.